This is the Jedi Battle tutorial, and I want to take this opening cutscene to give a brief overview on the level. So, Jedi Battle is the first major RNG level we encounter in the run, and in my opinion, one of the most important early game splits. The level is split into three different parts: the pillars, where you say Padme, Anakin, and Obi-Wan, the RNG waves, and the Jango fight. So we'll start here with the pillars. So the main objective of the first pillar is to take out the droideka shields as fast as possible, and this is accomplished by doing two separate jump slams on each side. And these jump slams also coincidentally take out all the droids around those droidekas, and after a couple normal attacks to take out the right droideka, we can do a well-timed deflect to take out the left droideka, and then force Padme down and move to the right with both players. Alright, to start the second wave, we want to switch R2 over to Padme on P2 and start heading to the right here. Coming up is a bomb. We want to do a backflip to avoid dying to the bomb, but what actually happens here is I take a death to this super battle droid, which is pretty common, and I wouldn't worry too much about taking deaths in Jedi Battle. But once we get that power up, we want to start force pushing these super battle droids into each other, and then obviously we want to be shooting with Padme at all these times to clean them up, any remaining, and then once again to deactivate the droideka shields, we want to do a jump slam with Mace Windu. And from there, force Anakin and go to the right again and do a little jump slash into this bomb to get it destroyed during the cutscene. After the cutscene finishes, you want to put the bomb onto Mace Windu, and it's okay if you put it onto Padme. You can just get the later power-up on the other player. You also want to make sure you destroy that bomb right there. More on that later when the Jango fight comes up. And then you want to put the second power, or get a power-up on the second player here. In this case, it's Padme. And as that's happening, you want to start jump slamming to take out the droideka shields at the third pillar. And I also want to mention that there is a one-player option for the pillars, and that is not much slower than the two-player option. And to end out the pillars, we want to grab that power-up on P1 and drop out and switch over to Padme. Alright, now I want to show you guys the pillars in real time, starting with the first one. And I want to put a little side note on this first pillar that it's okay to take a death on this first pillar. It's pretty common, so I wouldn't be worried if you're taking deaths on this pillar a lot. Once again, obviously you want to move to the right as fast as you can, and a little thing is do a little jump slash right before that cutscene to give you some extra distance. That always helps. And once again here, you want to just the main thing of focusing here is forcing the super battle droids into each other, and then obviously the jump slam. And once again, I take a death with Padme there, and it's not that big of a deal. Like, taking deaths in this opening pillar section is something that is going to happen a lot, so better get used to it. Wouldn't try to go deathless in this opening pillar section all the time. And once again, that bomb that I destroyed back there, very important for later. I'll explain that when we get to the Jango fight. But once again here, clearing out the shields, making sure I get the power up on P1, not P2, and dropping out. And that's the pillars in real time. And before we move on from the pillars, I want to show you guys the one-player version, which is definitely something you can go for if you're not confident enough in your 1P2C. The first pillar is fairly the same exact thing, and you move over to the right to end it. The only difference between these pillars and the 1P2C pillars is you won't be using Padme at all. So here you want to focus more on getting all these super battle droids killed with force pushes and leave like one or two left at maximum, just so it's easy, because the super battle droids are what makes these waves slower with just one player, since you don't have Padme to shoot them and clean them up. Still, that second pillar is fairly similar though to the 1P2C version, and we always want to destroy this bomb coming up for the Jango fight no matter what. And this third pillar, I actually do a little bit of a different strategy. Once I get all the droideka shields off, I deflect the shots to kill all these guys. Obviously, that's not something that you have to do, but if you can do it, it's definitely saving a little bit. And switch over to Padme for the RNG waves. Before we start the RNG waves, I'd like to go over the main goal of the RNG waves. The main goal is to cover the most ground as possible in the shortest amount of time. This maximizes your chances of seeing all the droids you need in a short period of time. The fastest way of traveling and doing this is staying close to the camera in the center of the arena. As well as constantly shooting is key to killing droids fast in these RNG waves, so you want to be shooting almost the whole entire time. Alright, to start the first wave, you want to make sure you shoot around you and clean up any battle droids that could be close to you, and then head straight down for this power-up. Then, you want to go a little bit to the left here, and notice how one of the bombs we blew up earlier, there's a little patch right there. You want to stop at this patch and start shooting a little bit to the left, and then go straight to the right. This will ensure any droids behind follow you. Now, when going straight to the right, make sure you constantly shoot when you're in the middle of the arena, taking out any security droids you may see along the way. If there's a droid out far, you can go out to him, kill him, and then try to take a couple shots back to kill anyone who may have followed from behind. Generally, all the waves end up ending right at this bomb, which you can see right here happens, so collect this power up, and you'll be right around this position for the second wave. A pretty common occurrence for this first wave is that once you get to this bomb, there will still be 1 or 2 battle droids left. So what you want to do for this is first go to the right, because sometimes they can spawn a little bit beyond the bombs. It's a pretty rare spawn, but sometimes that can happen. And the second thing I would do is, if there's still no one to the right, I would go back and check behind you, because if you go to the right and there's no one initially to the right, the last battle droid is guaranteed to be behind you. So I'll demonstrate this right now. I go check to the right, and once I get to this bomb and I still don't see anyone, then I turn around. And look, he was behind me in this scenario, but obviously if they're not directly behind you, they can be all the way to the left back here behind you. Alright, now I want to show you guys using Brick Bench what exactly happens during the first wave. So this little blue dot here is you, and all the yellow ones are the enemies, right after the third pillar here. So this, right off the bat, you're going to shoot the enemies around you, like I said, and then go down to this bomb right here, get the power from there, and then you're going to run initially left, and then make this like imaginary line from where you are standing to this bomb, and shoot to the left a couple of times, because that time you're standing there and shooting to the left is allowing anyone who spawns in this area right here to follow you. So then if you have any problems at the end of the wave and not finding someone, he'll be behind you almost guaranteed. So right after that, you're heading straight to the right around the middle, and you're ending the wave, like I said, around this bomb right here. And what I mentioned in the backup is go to the right a little bit more if you still don't have anyone about to this bomb. And if you still don't see the droid, he's guaranteed to be behind you, because look, this is the area where we were attracting all the droids from behind from earlier. So essentially, if you reach this bomb, you still don't have one droid, he's guaranteed to be behind you, so you might as well just run back, and you'll eventually find him. Before we start the second wave, I just want to quickly talk about the starting position of the second wave. So typically, to end the first wave, you're going to be ending at this bomb, and that's where we start the second wave as well. And I want you guys to follow the instructions that I'm going to give you for the start of the second wave, typically. But let's just say, hypothetically, you go further to the right or further to the left at the end of the first wave, and you start at a place that's other than at this bomb. I still want you to take the same general lines that I tell you to, and pretend like as if you were starting at the bomb. So you might have to use some different visual cues, but take the same general path of movement. Alright, and now to start the actual second wave gameplay. So first, just like the first wave, going initially left, you're going to go initially to the right here, and obviously take out any droids that you might see that are important to kill. And the visual cue you're going to use here is that pillar that's up top. Once you get there, when you go initially right, you want to turn around and go to the left. Obviously take a couple extra shots to the right in case there's any other droids lurking there, but that's going to get any other droids there to follow. And then we're going to head directly to the left, staying close to the center of the arena and constantly shooting, taking out any droids you may see, that security droids for battle droids. And like this, where you see one that's all the way on the outside, always turn around and shoot a couple extra shots behind, just on the off chance that you got someone to follow from earlier, just like in the wave, the first wave. So you should typically end the wave right around this area here. Sometimes it's a little further, sometimes you might have someone follow you, but I'll cover that in a second with the wave 2 backup. Okay, so let's say you get to around this area where you first started the pillar section. See that you can tell it's the third pillar by the brown like elevators in the back. Let's say you get around here and you still haven't gotten a droid or two. Typically, that means they've been behind you, but just on the off chance that someone spawned at a weird position they didn't end up initially following, you want to go a little bit extra to the left here, and you'll see in a second there's a metal thing where the red brick is, and you want to align yourself up with that. And if you still don't see them, then turn around And typically, if you turn around at that point, they'll be behind you. If you go all the way to the metal thing and they still aren't there, turn around and you should find the last guy. I just want to put a quick disclaimer on the RNG waves, and that no matter how closely you follow what I do and what I say and the lines to take, it's truly called the RNG waves for a reason, and sometimes it's not going to work out, and sometimes you're going to have some really, really, really weird droid spawns, and it could really screw you up and lose you a lot of time. But that's the unfortunate reality of Jedi Battle, that it's just random, and most of the time, the lines I'm telling you to take are going to work, but I just want to put a disclaimer that it's not going to work 100% of the time, and Jedi Battle is such a variant level and such an important split, like I mentioned earlier, that it's just a bit up to RNG at the end of the day. But yeah, I just don't want anyone to go in with expectations that the waves are going to go consistently every single time, because the truth is that it won't. Alright, so to start the Jango fight, you're going to spawn right in front of him, so you're just going to shoot him right away, but you have to then space out your shots in between each heart so that it doesn't give him iframes. When he's flying, I like to do it when he shakes his head, to do a jump shot right after he shakes his head to jump and then shoot. And you know that bomb we destroyed earlier that I mentioned earlier? See how it's destroyed there? So now you won't actually take a death to that bomb in the Jango fight. And when he goes to the ground, as soon as he gets up and like his feet touch the ground when he does that little top up, that's when I do another jump and a timed shot so he doesn't give him iframes. And it's a very simple fight, and as soon as you get him down to 0 hearts, the level is over. And that is my Jedi Battle tutorial.